When it comes to the newest ways to use high-tech anything, Steve Dotto is ahead of the pack. He is an early adopter, a popular speaker and educator. He hosts a television show and an online show called Dotto Tech, and it is my pleasure to welcome Steve Dotto back to Studio 4 to show and tell us more.
Fanny.
Hello. An adopter or an adapter?
Well, the term is early adopter, but I don't mind the term early adapter. That might be the people who are technology is forced upon and we have to adapt. But I'm an early adopter. I look at the new technology and I embrace it right away.
I see.
Change is good.
Yes, and you're adept at adopting.
Amen.
Very adept.
Well, sometimes it screws things up.
But your first computer, first time you actually pulled out the cash and bought a computer.
And bought a computer. Yeah, gee.
How much? Like $4,000 or something?
Back in 1986 and 87, I sold desktop publishing computers. And so I was selling them to other people. Macintosh Pluses were $5,200 each. And they had 1 megabyte of RAM, if you can think so, like your memory key is like way more. And they didn't even have a hard drive. They had floppy disks.
Right.
So that was $5,200 for in a little 9-inch black and white screen. So yeah, it was expensive.
Yes, and now it's come to this.
A little more bang for the buck.
And apparently, I was listening to a CBC interview today. There are tiny, tiny computers, like almost nano computers,
yes,
called the F-bomb, and one's called Raspberry Pi.
Well, the processing power in your smartphone is like way more than what Apollo 13 flew to the moon with. Like an order of magnitude more. We all have computers now everywhere. I mean, your phone is a computer.
It is, and Big Brother is here.
Yes, I saw that with CRT cameras, the average British citizen every day is filmed 300 times a day going about their daily activities. So that's how much, if you're talking about Big Brother.
Sure,
yeah.
And that's not by the FBI.
That's by the British guys.
Exactly.
The FBI
and
might be doing
what
more.
They can tell about us, that part, like where I go, who I visit on a website, what Google knows about me, slightly terrifies me.
It's terrifying in one aspect, and the other aspect, it can work to our benefit as well. I mean, privacy issues are certainly there, but people have big issues about, like, they go to Facebook and they say, how do they know that I like X, Y, Z? Well, they're scraping the screen information and they're sending you advertising that's direct to you. But really, on one aspect, I would much rather be getting ads about fly fishing lodges, which I'm interested in, than male enhancement ads, which I'm not so interested in.
Well, you're not, eh?
No, not really.
Well, that's
not
good
so
to
much.
know that you're okay there.
Not anymore, anyways.
You're okay there. That's good to know. Okay, so down to your favorite app. First, before we talk about apps, RIM.
Yeah.
What is going on? New Prez.
New president.
Thorsten Heinz.
And
what happened to the boys?
Well, RIM has been following
Vasily and
this
Lazaridis.
path. Yeah, they've been following this path, and I mean, the bloom is off the rose for RIM because they basically, they just got overtaken by both Apple's coolness and by Google's just sheer force of will with their Android operating system, and RIM's stock in trade has always been the business person, and so we've needed to use a BlackBerry as opposed to chosen to use a BlackBerry as we moved along, and they haven't stayed up on the cool factor. I don't think they're going to recapture that. So the future for RIM, although you hear a lot of press that they think it's fairly bright, I think ultimately they're going to turn into a company like IBM, which is less about building hardware and more about providing services. And it's certainly not what they envisioned. It's certainly not the multi-billion-dollar company. It'll be a smaller company. But I still think they have their place because they're so much about security and so much about control of information that that's still valuable in today's business community. They will find their voice, but I'm not sure it's going to be as a hardware manufacturer anymore.
Really? And they had an opportunity for free ads with the U.S. President. Obama's on his BlackBerry.
Yeah.
How can you screw that up?
Well, the iPhone has been an amazing. The iPhone's changed the world, not just for RIM. I mean, it's changed it for many for you. It got you.
I know.
More than any other piece of technology, it's the one that brought you into this age, isn't it?
Yes, because I had a Razor phone. They called it the ghetto phone. They were making fun of it.
I made fun of you.
I know. Everybody did in meetings.
And rightfully so.
There were chuckles when I'd bring out the Razor phone. Well, now my grandson plays with it.
Good.
So over to this.
Yeah, apps.
Apps.
Which one you
New
want to tell
apps,
us?
old
Let's
apps.
talk about, while we're talking about the Apple world, let's talk about what's Apple's announcement a couple of weeks ago. They released a new, they basically rejigged something called iTunes U, which I find, it's a wonderful project that was begun, and it's all about democratizing education. So iTunes U now, you can go in and you can download courseware, you can download books, you can actually take whole university classes, you can audit classes. I've got one here from the Open University where you can watch videos where the
business models.
So you can learn Italian. You can spout Shakespeare.
You can do more. You can take almost any university level course now. You can learn the principles of chemistry. You can take mathematics courses. You can learn about entrepreneurship.
Free?
Some of them are free. Some of them are for pay, depending on the school that is offering it, and also the course materials. Some of the textbooks you pay for, and some of the textbooks are free. But and so they've also built a new authoring tool called iTunes Author, iBooks Author, which you can now create. Teachers can create their own textbooks that are interactive textbooks that can incorporate video, they can incorporate photos, they can have learning objectives, they can do inline testing, all of those sorts of things. And the beauty of iTunes U, just like iTunes, is it's a publishing platform. It's a way that you can create this and then you can reach the world right away because you have distribution.
Sure. So future classroom, we will not be carrying our books to school or sitting on our books or balancing them on our heads because we won't probably need textbooks.
At the risk of jumping on the bandwagon, I think that this is the future of education, this sort of tablet computing.